One of the most interesting business models in the entire world is come to pickleball, and absolutely nobody's talking about it. I mean, just take a look at this trailer.
Millions of people play pickleball. We put the word out, we're looking for the best of the best, and hundreds upon hundreds of people apply. We picked 16.
And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, well, I promise you, you're not alone. Pickleball Kingdom is a facility startup that's backed by a private equity group called Pickleball X that's sprouting up across the country. There's probably one within a 50-mile radius of where you're listening from this today. And for the majority of us that have no idea what private equity actually is, simply explained, it's simply just a group that has a financial backing that pools money from investors and looks to buy something, improve it, and then sell it at a later date for a higher price than it would have when they originally bought it. And whether you know it or not, private equity is involved in almost every industry in the entire world. And pickleball is no different. But the question becomes, well, why would private equity want to get involved in pickleball? And it's for one main reason: the exponential growth curve that the participation rate in pickleball has been growing at. It's no secret, we've seen the stats, we've seen the headlines, that players in the US are playing more and more pickleball. Well, it's almost catching up to tennis. As you can see in this graph, the gap in 2022 between tennis players and pickleball players has severely shrunken in only 2 years. And when the data comes out for 2025, I expect this gap to be minimal to none. And this has led to a huge opportunity that hasn't been seized. That's why private equity wants to get into pickleball, because in their mind, they think that they can capitalize on this unfulfilled market and create a 10 to 30% return on the highest upside cases. So first, let's dive into the private equity group, the backers of Pickleball Kingdom, and just see what they have going on. So if you look at the LinkedIn page, most private equity groups are not widely public, but we can see here, as we scroll down to their people tab, we see a few people that we may be familiar with. One we're going to hear from later is Travis Wilson, the director of pickleball at Pickleball X. And one of the biggest advantages of being a private equity group is you don't have to be public. You're allowed to be private. You don't have to show off who you are or what you're doing. Well, Pickleball Kingdom, on the other hand, they're founded by Ace Rodriguez. And Pickleball Kingdom has exploded over the last 2 years. They've gone from essentially a few facilities nationwide to now over 350 facilities. How is that possible? And this is where private equity comes in. They provide the capital that allows Pickleball Kingdom to expand at a very fast rate, like you see on your map here. I mean, 2 years ago, there was essentially no clubs. Now, no matter where you go in the country, unless you're essentially in the Midwest, there's a club down the street from you. If you're thinking, well, that's a ton of facilities, that's a crazy amount, well, you're not wrong. And they have no plans on stopping, because at scale, with the private equity backers, this is how they eventually go up, improve the business, hire the multiple, and then exit at a really nice 10 to 30% return rate on their capital. I mean, look at their website. They're essentially promoting the fact they want me or you to become a franchisee and a franchise owner. Well, is this good for pickleball? Is Pickleball Kingdom with their private equity backers an actual good thing for the sport? And that remains to be answered. And a Pickleball Kingdom just opened down the street in Holyoke, Massachusetts, from where I live. Don't get me wrong, the town and the city was enlightened to hear that Pickleball Kingdom wanted to come to Holyoke, because this promotes economic activity and may save a dying mall. But how does this model actually work? Well, we're going to hear from Travis Wilson, the director of Pickleball X, and see how they plan on operating at this much scale.
Just that vibe when you walk in the door, you're happy to be there, not only because it's pickleball, but the group of people you've brought in and the culture you've set at the facility, that's what's going to separate everybody.
Okay, so even at scale, Travis believes that the key to a successful pickleball facility, and I subscribe to this ideology as well, is you have to create culture. You have to create the vibe that invites people to not only come in, but stay. Get a membership, play in the open play in the league play in the tournaments, create a real community. So for me, herein lies the fundamental issue with Pickleball Kingdom. At scale, when you have 350 facilities worldwide, this means you have to create a sense of community and collaboration across 350 individual franchises. Well, how do you do that? Top-down ownership. Starts with the franchise owner, then the director of pickleball and the programming, then the head coach. Are you telling me that you can find these different, really proven successful candidates at each of these 350 facilities nationwide every single time? Whether they want to admit it or not, the answer is just simply no. They opened a facility, like I said, in Holyoke, but also in Manchester, another 40 minutes away from me, And their head pickleball coach is someone I know pretty well, Heather Kim, who you see on your screen here. She is a fantastic player, even better person in the community, and I have no doubt eventually she's going to be an amazing pickleball coach, instructor, director of pickleball, etc. I really like what she's going to bring to the community of pickleball. But as you can see here, she's young. She's only done part-time coaching for a few years. She's now your head coach at a multi-million-dollar facility, and she's supposed to be the one creating community, running tournaments, getting lessons on court, basically doing everything. And while yes, the systems are in place for her to maybe succeed, she has no mentorship, right? She's the one that's supposed to figure this all out. How is she supposed to do that? And just to reemphasize, I really like Heather. I think eventually she's going to be a fantastic value add to any pickleball community as a director of pickleball, as a head coach, etc. But she's just so young. I don't trust myself with her own job, and I don't know how Pickleball Kingdom can do so as well without any sort of mentorship. And to go off that, let's now take a case study of an individual facility. Holyoke, Massachusetts, the one right next to me, it just opened a few months ago. They have a staggering 15 courts in a mall space. That is a ton of courts. And I've been there and I've played there multiple times. Beautiful courts, beautiful facility, but it is huge. I have no doubt in my mind they're paying $700,000 to $1 million plus in rent every single year. And I'll kind of let you guys figure out the math at home, but these are their membership prices. If you want to tag along corporate events and the assumption rate on what they're going to draw those in at, corporate sponsors, I don't see how there's any world where they even break even in this facility within the next 3 years, never mind turn a profit. Okay, so let's put the finishing touches on this entire narrative. Private equity as an entire industry, their investment timeline is typically 5 to 12 years. And right now, with this Pickleball X backing of Pickleball Kingdom, we're currently in this investment timeline, this 1 to 4 year period. And over the next 8 to 10 years, we're going to see if these facilities, these unique facilities around the country, can mature and really be a revenue producer for Pickleball Kingdom. And to be fair, the whole idea of producing pickleball facilities at scale is that the bad ones will die off and the good ones will be really good. And those margins and those profit from those facilities will not only eat the losses from the bad ones, but it'll continue to snowball into really, really good systems that allow Pickleball Kingdom to learn and grow and produce better facilities in the next 5 years. So by no means am I saying that Pickleball Kingdom is destined to fail. I think, honestly, they're more likely to succeed than fail, especially with potentially some of the really smart minds they have behind these facilities. But right now, I think the core problem that they have to address is strategic drift. And when I say strategic drift, what I mean is when you have unique individuals and ownership structures at each of these franchises, right? Your director of pickleball in Massachusetts is going to have a very different vision than your director of pickleball in Arizona. And same with your head coaches, and same with your lower level coaches. So creating this culture and this community that's consistent from place to place around the entire country is really, really hard to establish and even harder to maintain as you're scaling up so quickly. So they need to really be in tune with what's going on with their strategic drift elements and fight back to make sure they have a sustained community across the country. So when I walk in to a Pickleball Kingdom in Arizona, it feels similar to a Pickleball Kingdom that I walk in 30 minutes from my house. Okay, so you have the facts, you have my opinion. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. And just a last finishing touch, they do have this really cool activation they're doing on YouTube that I do want to promote because I think it's really cool for the scene. And it's this 16 Dreams, 4 Destinies, where they essentially took the trailer at the start of the video you saw. They chose 16 athletes and they're going to let them compete for some pro contracts as well as a franchise. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And is this good for pro pickleball? Is it good for pickleball in general? I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think.